Hello, welcome back to my channel. It is Ash here of Ash Inspires. I've got a question for you. I am curious if you feel that you are running or always are running on fumes, even though you are chasing your dreams, even though you are a leader, even though you are established in your industry, in your field, even though you love your business and you know you are making an impact, you are on mission, and you're living in your purpose. If so, we need to talk about why. I have been noticing for quite some time, and probably you as well, if you're watching this video, that there seems to be an epidemic of women in particular experiencing burnout, right? We're having adrenal fatigue. There's so many, like even if you search here on YouTube about adrenal fatigue, burnout, there's so many doctors, coaches, consultants, dietitians, and other women sharing their stories about how they got into burnout, how they recovered from burnout, and how they're trying not to go back into burnout. And so, if you don't know this about me, I have been slowly coming out and sharing my story about realizing I was clinically diagnosed to be in stage 4 adrenal fatigue back in early January of 2023, which means that I had already been in burnout way before then, and we never really know or realize it, especially because burnout is something that oftentimes is so experiential. People just say, take a rest, slow down, delegate to your team, prioritize things that are important to you, say no, have boundaries. But people don't realize that it's an actual, it's a multi-layered experience, and it requires a lot of different things in order to heal yourself, get back into your wellness, get back into your body, get back into being yourself again. And it's a journey. And so I was like, not only do I want to tell more of my story of how I recovered from burnout and have not returned and will not ever return if it's up to me, and it is, but also some of these insights that I've been noticing, not only from my own journey, but also from clients. All of the women who are experiencing burnout, it's because we are doing so much, right? We are going to work, we are running our households, we are responsible for ourselves or responsible for other people. There's so much emphasis on performance, on doing, on efforting, of showing up, of being the best, and essentially over efforting, believing that our lives can only stabilize, be safe, be provided for, that our dreams will only come true, that the impact we're called to have in the world or the influence we desire to have in the world can only come from essentially depleting ourselves, going out to do all of these things. And I know that because that's what I was doing, and I didn't realize it or see it until I did, and I had to. But I also see this in my clients. They're women who are writing these incredible books, and they have an incredible perspective on life, and they're running these amazing companies, and they're heads of these teams, and they're mothers, and all of these like dynamics of who they are. And yet they're like, I'm always on fumes. This is my dream life. I know that I matter. I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I also know that I'm called to more, but I can't even imagine beginning to go towards that more, or creating that next level of impact or influence, or carving out the space for the love that I want to receive in my life, because I'm already exhausted. So how do we negotiate like being a woman and being a leader, when being a leader in our brains has been defined as going, pushing, doing, efforting, applying yourself, right? And essentially performing and functioning at such a high level that it begins to break you down as a woman. What I've realized over the years is that our capacity, like our physical capacity, most of us as women, isn't to operate and move as men at all. We're not meant to constantly pump adrenaline. Yeah, I was going to say adrenaline and testosterone in our body and not be able to recover and relax. We also are not designed to always do to create things into form. In fact, we can create anything by our energy, by our being, by who we are, how we show up, how we move, how we rest. That is still part of the creational process. So this is a little bit of a preamble to the evolution of my work, in which I am guiding women to stop always relying on your masculine energy and your effort, your logic and strategy, and pushing and doing, and begin to balance abundance and open up to the full creative capacity that you have as a woman, which includes leading, guiding, teaching, and creating through your feminine energy. So, in this process, the last 2.5 years, I have realized, and I've coined this term, feminine empowerment erosion. And I want to explain what that means. This is a concept that I have realized looking out into the world and working with my clients who, again, are all high achieving, high performance, established women in their industries. They are leaders. They are the go to, right? They're pioneers, they're trailblazers, they're visionaries, like powerhouse women who know how to show up and say what they need to say and still always evolving and growing. And so I'm like, all of these women have been in boardrooms with men. They've gone toe to toe with men. They've created these opportunities for themselves and others. They've led the way. So this is 100% women's empowerment. These are women who are here on mission to transform the paradigm and the culture that we currently live in and are doing a phenomenal job, except all of the efforts to create the world that you want to live in is also going against you as a woman. So if the future you're here to create doesn't include taking into consideration how to take better care of yourself, are we really creating a new world? Are we really evolving the paradigm? Are we really modeling a new way? I don't think so. And I know that that's really harsh and it hits our egos. It hits my ego because here I am working with hundreds of women a year, running a couple 100,000 a year in revenue, right? Having people invite me to speak on their platforms, being on these awesome podcasts. And I'm like, ancestral healing and conscious business and women can do this. And I'm just like rah, and women's lives are changing and families are going and people are flying around the world and chasing and creating their dreams. And here I am, not even paying attention to my own body, falling into the same cycle of being a martyr, of self-abandonment, of putting my needs aside for others to serve others, self-sacrificing. And if there's anything we know about this current paradigm and the culture that we live in modern day, is that if the women are sick, you have a lot of control. If you get a woman to focus on any and all things outside of herself and to think that her way of experiencing the world, her way of feeling the world naturally is not good enough, is not right, you'll always have a source of income, of revenue, right? Because you can sell her anything to fix herself. If she's destabilized, so is the household, right? And so when we look across history of all the ways that communities and clans and group of people have become vulnerable, it is always to bring down the men so that they're not protected or the masculine energy, and to also destabilize the feminine energy, the womb, right? Because we as women with wombs birth everything and nurture everything. So what we believe, what we think, the state of our nervous system, the state of our intellect, how we see and how we move ends up being the energetic force field around those groups of people. So sometimes women come to me and they're like, I'm doing all the right things. I'm so smart. I have my degree. I've got my certifications. I have this strategy. I've created this framework. I've hired my team. I've scaled it, done all the right things. And yet the culture is wrong. People don't feel safe. People are afraid. They don't feel empowered. Why? Because the leader, the woman, is not empowered in her natural form. She's abandoned all of her feminine energy in the name of women's empowerment. So the reason why this matters is I'm seeing like the actual cost of ignoring these signs of essentially being in women's empowerment erosion across so many different women of different walks of life and different age ranges. And we normally start to experience this somewhere in our 20s, right? Because we're like, yeah, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do it, I'm going to, right? And then it really sets in our 30s because we're wearing multiple hats and roles. We might be in relationships, we might be mothering, we might be heads of companies, we're in our career for sure, and absolutely in our 40s and 50s, because now we've gotten even more evidence and reward, and we've built the stability and the lifestyle that we want by constantly being in our empowered state. So the cost of ignoring these signs of feminine empowerment erosion, which you see them in your health, you see them in the state of your relationships, and you see them in your like resistance to either achieving your goals, like you're constantly going to achieve your goals, and then you're either not hitting them, or it's just so hard, right? Before you could put in that effort and it came to pass. Now you're continually putting in all this effort and it just seems like it's harder to get to what you really want. These are all symptoms of being in feminine empowerment erosion. And even to like articulate what feminine empowerment erosion really is, it's when, again, all of your efforts are actually going against yourself. So I wrote an article, a 4-part article about this on my website, and I really take the time to break it down. I so encourage you to read it. Like just click, it's in the description here underneath this video. Click it and read it. And it takes you through identifying if you have feminine empowerment erosion in your own life, how it shows up, and also 5 steps, 5 starter steps. Okay. Because you guys, if you're new to me, you'll know that I'm really not into these like 5 steps to do, because like it's a whole journey. It's healing, it's growth, it's empowerment, it's illumination. Your consciousness evolves, your beyond mindset, your beliefs have to change in order to truly come, I don't want to say come to terms, but to transform your relationship with being an empowered woman in a way that it fully does serve you instead of depleting you. But I wrote about this in this article. It's my first draft of it. So I'm so sure I will iterate on it some more because so many other insights are coming out. But I encourage you to click it and read it. Like if you're looking at how, gosh, I have achieved so much and yet I feel so empty. I am surrounded by people and yet I feel so lonely. I like am in my marriage or in my relationship, but I'm so unhappy. I'm carrying all of the weight. I actually just want to relax. But then the idea of relaxing or surrendering or not being the breadwinner all the time or making all the decisions also scares you, or you doubt the ability for a man or your partner to even step into that space. These are all examples of feminine empowerment erosion, where the freedom and the abundance and the creativity and the connection and the support and the community and the love that you truly desire and is more than likely part of your life's work, you're out here trying to create that, but you are actually not experiencing that in your personal life. It's time to repair this. It's time to reverse the impact of feminine empowerment erosion and come into the full expression of your radiance and the full expression of your true power as a woman, right? The last thing I'll say about this is feminine empowerment erosion makes us think that women are just supposed to go back to that. I just had a conversation about this the other day. Go back to like the 1950s where we just can't do anything and men are the only one in power. And our femininity is like this damsel in distress. And that is not what I'm talking about. When you come into the full range of your feminine power, actually your power as a woman that includes your femininity and other expressions of who you are, there's nothing that you can't do. But if we're so empowered that we do not allow help, that we do not trust ourselves when we're resting, that we have guilt and anxiety when we're doing what we love or when we move a little bit slower, if we only believe we can have impact and change and magnetize opportunities and create the things that we want to see in this world only through physical effort and physical effort to a point that it's exerting and taking away from you and depleting your life force energy, then we're out of balance. And I'm interested in all women and all people to get back into balance, to get back into harmony. And we need that. You already know the quote, now more than ever. We're always going to say that because right now, the present time is the time that we need the things that we want. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up by saying, check out this article. I really, really love it. It's on my new website, ashinspires.com. I go through all of the relatable examples, tying this back to your relationship to burnout and how to get out of your burnout and not return, looking at your relationships, if they're strained or non-existent, especially intimate romantic relationships. Another symptom is feeling stuck, knowing that you're called to a next level of influence or impact, like another dream that's really coming through. It could be in business, it could be in your nonprofit work or your like activism work. It could be also in your desires of your heart when it comes to family and children and community and relationships in that way. But all of the symptoms are laid out there. And I also give you a guide to start exploring this for yourself, healing it, evolving it, fixing it so that you can be even more fully in your power, an example of what's possible. Okay. In the next video, I'm actually going to uncover these hidden examples of erosion in more detail. So if this video speaks to you, watch the article, read the article, and then come back for the next video. And we'll also have another video on how to start fixing the erosion. And what I mean by fixing, it is just healing the unconscious, subconscious, deeply rooted beliefs that we are carrying as women that's actually sabotaging our empowerment efforts. All right. If you don't know me, I am Ash Johns. I am a certified psychospiritual life coach. I am a feminine leadership guide and advisor, and I am an expert in women's personal development and growth. So if this speaks to you, please subscribe. Definitely find your way onto my email newsletter, and I'm so glad that you're here. Go ahead and drop your comments and your questions down in the area below. Read the article, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm sending you lots of love wherever you are. Thanks for being here. Bye.